Hi, I want to talk about the future wealth, how what industries or what products will create a new wealth or the new money. How would it look like, or how would we go? And but before I go there, uh, we're gonna have to look at the industries or the money that's here right now, or is the old money, and see why people are gonna change it, or why they don't want it anymore. And this is something very valuable because many people don't understand why things collapse, and you can get them going. For example, right now, a lot of banks or the Federal Reserve is issuing credit, money, printing it, and giving it to all these financial institutions, real estate companies, funds of different kind, and they go out and they buy assets, and they squander the money. They buy their own shares back. They merge with each other. None of which makes any kind of wealth, but underlying all of this is that the US dollar itself is collapsing or will collapse shortly, and then on top of all of that, the asset valuations is also going to collapse because um, there's just too much real estate, too much very expensive stocks, too many bonds, too much debt. Is like somebody is hell bent on misallocating capital, misallocating resources that are already here, even though they know all of this is gonna become a pile of shit. But they they are so used to uh, doing these things, and they just cannot stop. But I used this example in one of the other videos, that there were these researchers in Australia. I think they're still there. They're similar to a company that's called Second Sight, that they make prosthetics, like eye prosthetics. Well, this other company, they were trying to make, or they made a product that's very sophisticated. If you want to look at the level of technological sophistication, you would look at this product, because it's not only you have to use surgery to implant a chip into the brain of people who are blind, but also it interfaces with the eye, the surface area where it's the receptors for the light, and then has to transmit it wirelessly to this chip in the brain. The brain has to interface with the body. I mean, the chip has to interface with the body. So, you know, the amounts of the monies that these researchers or these groups of people that were working on it, and a lot of them were PhD, physicists, the PhD circuit designers, they were researchers. It was like their seed money was something like $3 million that the university or some philanthropist had given them, and they were talking about that later on in the future we are gonna be getting some more money. Maybe they get another 10 million or so. They didn't know, but some of their devices were working and the other ones were on the way. But the important thing I want you to note is the amounts of the money that you need to develop a whole new promising technology that like millions of people are going to use this technology, and the amounts of the monies and resources that the U.S. government or the Fed or all these financial, they're just totally squandering. Their kinds of squandering, the numbers that they are talking about is like 2 billion or 50 billion or a trillion, like you're missing 21 trillion, or these levels of mismanagement or misallocation of capital and squandering of resources, and you compare it to what society needs or wants to do, there is a huge imbalance. Many economists like Peter Schiff or Kaiser Report or Celente, they're constantly going there trying to see how we can stop this. Well, there is another one, David Stockman. There's a long list. They all know something is very wrong, and they want to stop these losses. Well, in the Persian, they have expression. It goes like this: when you stop seeing red, this is when you're gonna start seeing black. It goes like this: when you stop losing money for stupid reasons, then that's when you're gonna start making money, because the money, even though it might be a little bit, but that's real money. That's the money that it came from the operation of your business. It came out from new technologies. It came from things that society needs to maintain or do things. What the future wealth would be, first of all, more than anything else, besides new technologies, would be when the society decides to kill these fraudulent bankers, kill the people that squander their resources. Well, that's a lot of money right there. Okay. Then the second one would be the second on the agenda of the monies that are being squandered or lost. That's when the society decides not to spend money on military ventures, on foreign incursions, not to spend money on $1 million a day or a month on soldiers in Afghanistan. This is the second part of the agenda, or the second item on the budget that all the money is squandered or lost. Then we come to the third one, is when a society decides not to engage in secrecy and spying on each other and spying on others, and there is a civil code that's adhered by everyone in that society, then these relationships, the economic, or they will not be fraudulent, or they won't be hostile, they will be normal, and things, the economy will grow naturally. So going beyond these three items, there is I see that there is some places in the economy as it exists that will be growing, and these are areas where the people have problems that they're gonna be looking to fix those problems. I think that a lot of people, they eat processed food, and their body is missing a lot of the vitamins and minerals and things that it should have. Also, when people grow older, which is the case with a lot of the population, then the body naturally stops or produces less of many proteins and enzymes that it needs. A lot of the functions that were like commonplace before, they're diminished, like sexual functions or mental functions. Uh, that's why there's so much incidences of Alzheimer. Many people are really medically impotent, and there is also a lot of obesity because the body is not doing what it's supposed to do. Also, well, exercising helps, but what I was trying to take to my friend, this salt, call it, I think, some places they call it Dead Sea salt or Himalayan salt, that has about like 86 different minerals that the body needs. And then there are many different herbs. I've gotten into some herbs that are like mushrooms. Mushrooms have a lot of very potent chemicals or ingredients. They really impact you. Oh, well, I've had videos about herbs like cordyceps or lion's mane. Well, lion's mane is, I use it in an extract form. I have like 12 or 13 different herbs that are in liquid form, and each one of them impacts a different kind of mental function. So like they're like when you add them up, 12, 13. I wrote some of them down in my Facebook. It jacks up your mental functions, or if you have IQ of 100, then it goes to 150 or 170 or 200. It's just more of what you already are. Then I have something like 12 or 13 or 14 liquid extracts of different herbs that each one of them helps with sexual functions. Like even though I'm an old fart, I feel like I'm in my 20s or 30s. Okay, so this is a future wealth, would be all these products, all these technologies that restore to people what they already had, like when they're in their 20s or 30s, whether that might be like supplement or different therapies, genes, or that's what I have problem as an older person, that I'm trying to go there. But the other one, I think that's very important. But to me, I'm like blind in the left eye. Is these prosthetic devices or technologies that they can grow different organs. Okay, I don't know if they'll get that sophisticated to grow an entire eye and out of the cells that I already have, but they have grown corneas, which is really important. But other parts of it, I don't know. Well, there is a company called Second Sight, and they have prosthetics for if the eye wasn't as damaged as like mine. But well, that's just one area. But the technology that rejuvenate the skin, I use collagen, but that's just one area. Then there are technologies or herbs that are like aphrodisiacs, like pheromones. Those are I buy some of them. They are valuable, because a lot of people are growing older like me. Uh, anything, any device or any herb or chemical or supplement that can help me become more functional in every sense, whether that's mental or in my eyesight or in any other area. Well, that technology is going to have a customer, namely me or other people, and that's very nice. I think that the other technologies that we are not looking at it right now because we are so used to these older forms of technologies. I was reading about that some companies are using bacteria that have been genetically modified. For example, some bacteria they can change grain into alcohol. For example, that's how they make vodka or other. But there are other strains of these bacteria that can be used to go further along a chemical chain and make like diesel fuel, and they have reactors for that they use it. Well, what if in the future this technology gets to a certain level that most of our diesel fuel or fuel for airplanes is made this way? And then I think that another direction that we are going to be going, and the new wealth is coming from there, is the fact that it's becoming very hard to keep things secret, like anti-gravity technologies that certain civilization had, and the government caught up with it and hiding it somewhere. Well, then when there is so much open source and open discussions in everywhere, YouTube or media, then these technologies, they are not something obscure. I surmise that in some future that some companies will just say, hey, I want to dump the airplane technologies, they're too old, and I want to make these devices, and I could lift more load and more people and go, if I want to go to the moon some other week, then that's not a big problem, because this technology is not so doesn't have so many constraints like a rocket technology. Well, that's a place where we might be going very soon. I think many countries have these technologies, but they just kind of hide it in the closets, or it's only used for military purposes. But hey, then the new wealth also comes from the fact that many countries will become able to stop military aggressions, because the technology that destroys aircraft, like anti-aircraft batteries, will become so widespread that it will becomes really impossible to export yourself there. Well, I think the future wars, the ground forces will become important, because the ground forces of the countries are there, whereas say for example, United States wants to use aircraft to go and bomb Afghanistan or Iran, then they don't. It's just this aircraft that's committing military genocide. It's not really the ground forces. They don't have personnel. That's when that's a new wealth of countries being able to regain sovereignty and also use their military when they need it. without resorting to extremely high tech devices. I don't know. This is a way of looking at it. Let's see. I covered aviation. I covered fuel. The, well, I think that solar and other alternative clean energies, they're just gonna gradually seep in, and there is gonna be more and more of them until the fossil fuel becomes the minority or a fraction of the real or total energy use. I don't know. Let's see. I probably gonna have another video on these ideas that are important. Oh, another thing that I was looking at, it was really interesting, is there are some pills I see on the eBay and other places that promise age rejuvenation or extension. Well, I don't know if this technology of modifying telomeres has reached that level, but that's a very interesting. Well, I was walking in the dollar store, and there was this lady. she had her chihuahua in her basket, and the chihuahua was like, my cat was bigger than chihuahua. Well, somebody in the past, through breeding, modified these poor dogs to become smaller and smaller until we have like a little smaller than kitten chihuahuas. But archaeologically, there are evidence that there were other human forms. Well, some people they call pre-Adamites, but with larger brains. Well, who's to say that the secret program is not recreating some of these other forms of humanity, or there were giant humans that have been extinct now for some time, but I think that the genetic engineering will go on, and different forms of humans will emerge, and also because this technology will become very advanced, extinct animals will show up here and there in the zoos. Well, there has been some genetic reproduction of some extinct animals, but it hasn't really taken off. Well, that's a form of wealth, finding different plants or animals that went extinct, and they could be used also as food source, like the new chicken meat with the species that can make better meat or better grain. I don't know. There probably is a lot of areas that I didn't even cover. We might have to go another video. Well, thank you very much for being in my YouTube channel, and please subscribe and feel free to leave comments.